Look at here. I would hold y'all, but I ain't got the time. I think I might be trying to come down with a cold. Do not know. Guarantee I'll probably have one next week because I got to shoot outside. Look at here. I'm going to say this before we get started. If you have a website and you have downtime, it's the top of the year. We only a few days in of the year. Typically for most photographers, I would say for the middle 60%, right? I'm calling 60% of photographers the middle. I believe, and this is all BS and I'm making this up on the fly. I believe that photography is 20%, the top 20%, the middle 60, and the bottom 20. And I would like to get into, I believe, the lower 20% of the middle class mess arounds with the low class. Just throwing it out there. No logic in that. I'm actually just started that on the fly. But I will say this, for the majority, and for definitely never mind, not the lower class. The majority of us, January and June, July look slow, at least if you're in the South. Or if you're in Charlotte, particularly where I am. Typically, people are traveling. This is not a tourist city. So if you're like in a non-tourist city, the summers, kids are out of school, so they're traveling. The winter is the top of the year. People are having all these New Year's resolution. I'm going to save money. I just spent too much money on Christmas. Whose birthday is coming up, things of that nature. So they're not trying to spend. So what I like to do is, hey, update my website. Let me get everything in order. Let me create templates. Let me go over my contracts, X, Y, and Z. So if you're like that, please take out the time to do that. If you do not know who I am, my name is Gavin, aka Coke, aka doesn't even matter. You do not know why you're on this podcast right now. I've taken the longest non-notified break of all time. I am the host of the Paid Exposure Podcast, a podcast that was created to help and assist Black and brown photographers across the country. In my journey of doing this podcast for years, I've learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about my co-hosts that have came and gone. I've learned a lot about other photographers. I've learned a lot about sensitive ass photographers. I've learned a lot about interesting photo groups. But more than likely, mostly, I've learned just how big this genre is and how much it's grown. Today, typically, the way episodes go is I have a certain topic. I might bring in a friend and we'll chop it up. We'll talk about it. I try not to keep you long. Since it's typically me, I do try to keep this interesting. And I just noticed my voice was trash. I do try to keep this interesting, sped up, so we can go over some things and we can hop up out of there. Also, before we get started, it is scam season. Please understand it is scam season when it's coming to photography. What does that look like? It's a lot of photographers, and I've said this last year, there's a lot of photographers who are not photographers who are out here trying to sell you courses, and this is a time of the year that they can get this off. Like I just said, New Year's resolution. What happens? Oh, I want to do 500 photo shoots this year. Oh, I want to do 200 weddings in 1 month. Oh, I want to make $100,000. And people understand that. People who are not even photographers, their main goal right now is to say how much of their new money they might have got from Christmas, they're already invested money, whether it's new camera, new lenses, new whatever, new tutorials. Let me get some of that. Hey, do you want to sign up for my course for $300? You could do it anytime this year. And what they're trying to do is get your money. Please beware. I got cussed out for this last year, and I'm here to double down. A lot of these people ain't photographers. A lot of these people do not have work to show you. They don't have a portfolio to show you. They can't teach you how to use anything in Photoshop. They're sending off their retouchers. Look, let me sit up for this. I love it because I was talking to one of my photography friends, and me and him was talking about how there's a photographer that we know who's based out of LA, but travels on the West Coast, and last year they was charging $700 for photo shoots. Cool. Me and this other photographer knew that this person has never taken a photo before because we know this person personally. They're now on the East Coast selling $200 photo shoots. The joke is when I ran into that person, I said, yo, how did you pull this stunt off? Well, I hired retouchers. I just put it on aperture priority and there we go. I figured something and I don't have to do no work. You hire these retouchers, $5 a photo. But the joke is they have a mentorship program. Excuse me. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Music, I'm sorry. I'm 99% sure I'm about to get a cold, which is BS. It was 20-something degrees today in Charlotte, but y'all bear with me. Please be aware of that. Please be aware of, hey, I'm going to teach you how to make 10 grand your first month. Only thing you got to do is buy my $99 course. Beware. Beware of people that are selling you, repurposing the guide that they have. It's over. Like, it's especially in these boudoir groups. You already know what time it is. Go look at the old videos. It's a joke. They are back. They are ready, and they're gonna ramp up for January. They're gonna ramp up during the summer when they know you slow and you're desperate. So they'll probably start again in March, and then they're gonna hit you for the fall to teach you how to do minis. It is scam season in photography. I welcome you to it. Please beware. Just do your research. That's all I gotta say. I've made my mind up. So if you follow any of my other podcasts, and I will get to you where I've been up to, but if you follow any of my other podcasts, shout out to the Black Dads Club. I've said on there every year I kind of release like what am I not doing in the next year. This year, I am no longer telling photographers the truth. If you do not ask me, I will lie to you. Unless you're here. You got to be here to get the truth. And it's going to be so general. And I'm not going to be talking to one particular person. That cool. I can let it get off here. All right. But I'm lying. These photo groups, y'all want lies. I'm giving you lies. Or I'm not saying nothing. But the truth is, you have to do your research because these photographers will lie to you. I was laughing because following a photographer yesterday, well, I was told she was a photographer, and I'm going to be honest, I wish I had the sister's name. She is not a photographer. She does not promote herself as a photographer, even though she promotes herself as a graphic design artist who uses Midjourney, but she does all of these high-touching, beauty retouching videos. But it's already on AI. Joke of the effing day. But if you look at her work, it's beautiful. She's a black girl. She always does it. Now y'all about to find who she is. Anyway, her work is beautiful, but people are mistaking that as photography. The biggest joke in 2023 for me was people getting upset that you was criticizing their photography skills on AI work. Get ready. You're going to see more of it. But if we call it out, and what's up? It's whatever, man. Welcome into the podcast. I would start this podcast over. I have been raising a 2-year-old for the last 2 years, and it has been a journey amongst journeys. You know, after I lost my host on this podcast, I went to a couple of things trying to figure out like what I wanted to do because I have too much photography and podcasting equipment, and it was right there in front of me. I'm a dad. I have a dad podcast. And one day I do kind of want to go back into, if you're an entrepreneur, how do you go on paternity or maternity leave? Because I think that is something deep, something real. Myself personally, I had to go on paternity leave for 3 months. My wife will tell you I lasted 6 weeks. But it was tough, and it was a beautiful thing, and it was great. And I probably will do a step-by-step on how to go on paternity leave as an entrepreneur. But I've been raising a little boy. His name is Roman. Shout out to him. He might make an appearance on some things, especially my story. But I missed a lot last couple of months on this podcast. I hope everybody had great time during the holidays. I hope everybody, sorry if you're on this camera, my mustache, I need a haircut. Shout out to Darnell. My mini sessions were interesting this year. Probably cut in half. Definitely the money was cut in half. Everybody named Mom was doing mini session. I saw a makeup artist doing mini photography sessions. Yeah, she put up a backdrop. The camera she uses to record her videos, so you could go on her, she wasn't a makeup artist, she was a hairstylist. You could go on her style sheet or style seat. You could book a blowout and a holiday mini session in the same thing. That jump blew my mind. It let me know how many people were doing mini sessions, but I ain't judging. Whatever. If clients no longer do research, they got. I did not see her post not one mini session shoot. I seen the behind the scenes, never seen her post what happened with them. That lets me know enough right there. But everybody was doing mini sessions. I made good money, not great money, but I wasn't tripping because I still was working in between there. My last week of photography was crazy. 2 engagement sessions, a wedding on New Year's Eve. So I'm blessed. I'm grateful. For those who do not know, I've been doing photography for 15 years. It's been an amazing, amazing time. And I don't take it for granted that I've been shooting for 15 years. I hope I don't look it. I do sometimes sound like the angry black man, but y'all get past that. What we missed last year, Cameron. We missed talking about Cameron. For those who do not know, there was a young lady who was at an event. She had a press pass. She photographed Cameron in an all pink outfit. This was not planned, I promise you. For those who do not know, you're not watching the YouTube, I actually have on a pink hoodie, a Teddy hoodie. But joking enough, Cameron's going to his car. He got the pink outfit on. He's on his phone. She takes a picture of Cameron. That picture becomes iconic. It goes everywhere. Well, Cameron seemingly rips the photo later and puts it on stuff and sells it. They went to court. Cameron's talking big trash online. And guess what? Cameron got sued. He lost. He got to pay this girl this money, this woman this money. And the internet for a minute was ablaze. This is where I'm asking you to send this clip to anybody else who do not understand copyrights with photography. I am here to break it down. I'm here not to give you any law because that ain't my job. I ain't no lawyer. I am a photographer / podcaster / I love the NBA. And I talk trash. Cameron was dead wrong, and Cameron will lose that 100 times over. And if you think that Cameron was right, I dare you to try it. You will lose as well. If any photographer takes a picture of you, automatically they own that photo. I don't care what you think, what you say, how you feel. Oh, I do this to them. No. We got to get out of this street mentality, and none of y'all street. But we got to get out of this ignorance mentality. Photographers own the art that they create. Just like if you're walking and I paint you in the street and I paint you and I own that art. I don't know how one is easy to understand, the other one isn't. So what rights do I have as a person since you own the copyright of the art that you created? Well, technically, this is when we need a lawyer. And when I get one on this year, I will ask them this. Technically, from my understanding, I cannot then go repurpose that photo and sell it myself. So what does that look like? I can't sell it or lease it or I think that's the word I'm looking for. I can't license it at all. So I've worked with POC stock. Great resource, by the way. And I had a picture of my homegirl, Alex, that I wanted to lend to them. It was a cool photo. It was a black woman, fashion, on a rooftop, blah, blah, blah. I thought it'd be super cool. I sent it to POC stock. I got the quickest email back. Hey, we need her release form. She has to release her photo being used because other people are going to use it and do whatever. They're going to use it for commercial use, things of that nature. I had to email Alex. I had to explain to her. She and me and her had a conversation about money. And I got the paper signed. Cool. So guess what? I don't believe that person who took that photo of Cameron could then say, hey, I'm going to license this photo to anybody to use, to sell, to do whatever with Cameron, unless Cameron signed off on it. And I don't believe that photographer did it, but Cameron did it. And he took it and used it for commercial use. She owns that. Now, if we keeping it a buck, I think the law is corny. I think that it's weird. And as a photographer, I'm not going to lie, I find it beyond corny. Not what the photographer did, but the argument that people are presenting. I think it's corny that I can go and take a picture of anybody and do whatever the hell I wish with it. Because I do believe it creates this slippery slope of, hey, I see a celebrity, or hey, I see a random person. Let me harass them with a camera. Let me follow them around. Let me get whatever. Now, mind you, that doesn't happen to the 90%, 95% of the people of the world. But with celebrities, you know, it is that gray area. And I'm not talking about the celebrities that call the paparazzi on themselves, but I'm talking about, hey, Cameron is out minding his business and somebody takes a picture of him and you telling me that person can do whatever they please with it. up to a range, but Cameron can't say, hey, yo, that's me. Let me put it on a coffee cup and sell it. I mean, Cameron could. He just got to talk to the person that owns the photo, which is right. But, you know, a lot of people like to say, oh, somebody took a picture. Bro, nobody ain't taking a picture of your ass. Like, let's just keep it a buck. I just thought that was weird. More recently, there are these 4 young ladies who found out they was all dating the same boy, and they did a photo shoot together. And I am here to say I am blaming that photographer. Please find that photographer for me, because I do want to ask them some questions. Why the hell did you take them photos? Also, I want to ask that photographer. Well, I did say online that I believe the photographer did them dirty. The photos was mid at best, but the outfits was mid. The shoot thought was mid. All of it was mid. And it does get me wondering, was this all for clout? Now that I'm repeating this, it was very cloutish that a photographer did this. Who texted me? That's that, man. I don't know what else we missed over the last couple of years. I hope last couple of months. If you haven't, check out the photographer that paid for he paid a helicopter to take him over the Rose Bowl so he can get a stealth bomber flying over the Rose Bowl. I would love to know the over or under of how much that cost. That junk was fly. Also, is it real? I wouldn't be surprised if this come out later and say it was real, it was fake, but I believe it's real for right now. Anyway, the point of this video, I have with me the Canon R3. I don't know if you can see it. I have it right here. Hopefully it gets back in focus. It's over here. Hopefully everything comes back in focus. I have my Canon R3, and I think it is the appropriate time to do a review on this camera. I have had this camera for easily maybe a year. You know what I'm saying? At least at the top of it last year. So probably I would say I got it April of 2023. So not a year exactly. I am here to tell you this camera is amazing. I'm here to tell you that it is not, it may be overkill for the average photographer. But if you're serious about photography, go ahead. It is expensive. All right, so let's get into it. So what did I have before that? Before that, I had the Canon R5. Let me show you because I got a picture of it. And off bat, I have to say that the R5 and the R3, it's totally night and day as far as like size and everything. If you could see, and hopefully this is in focus, the R3 is twice as tall, it seems like, or at least like 50% taller. The width is probably about the same. Difference in weight, there's a huge difference, not nothing crazy. I will say with the Canon, the 70 to 200 lens feels a lot better clearly on a bigger camera than the R5. So how did I get from the R5 to the R3? Because it's not really necessary. Let's keep it a buck. Oh, and before we get started on that, shout out to, I think it's called Lifeguard or Alphagvrd is what I Googled, and I think Lifeguard is the bigger company, but Alphagvrd, shout out to them. I just put a skin on the camera. Shout out to Designs by JK in Charlotte. I've been shooting with him for a couple years now, and he has it on his Sonys. And when I first got on Alphagvrd, it wasn't that many Canons they had available. And so I wasn't pressed on putting it on there because I'm about to get into it. I really didn't like the R5. Keep it a buck. So I really didn't want to put it on there because I was contemplating selling or doing something else with my R5s. And for Christmas, I asked for a skin for my R3. My pops got it for me. It's super dope. I will say, get the tweezers. I did my pops did. Take your time. Plan out 2 hours to put this on. Put on some music. Turn on the news. Take you 2 hours to plan and put it on. I will say, for the grip parts of this camera, I did not put it on. A, because I didn't want to, because it's a very similar texture, and B, I didn't know how comfortable I felt using like either a hair dryer or whatever, and it says some heat gun. I don't know. I ain't feel like doing it. Plus, I put it on one part of my camera, and it's slippery more than the other parts without the grips on it. So I chose not to do it. Hopefully y'all could see this. But anyway, that might be goofy. And I hope I'm not throwing these things in and out of focus. All right, cool. At least I know that camera's on focus. Anywho, for the most part, I have to say for 99.9, probably 99% of putting the skin on fit perfectly. There was one part where it did not fit correctly, and I had to use some scissors to cut, and it wasn't a big deal. And you know, my favorite part about these things is, I said it earlier, if you don't want to put something on there, you don't have to. And if you do mess up, it's easier to take, remove, and like scoot it over, do whatever. Please make sure your camera is clean. They give you very clear instructions. The instructions were amazing. I was not confused. And when I did mess up and I was like, dang, the instructions wasn't like clear, I realized I didn't read those instructions. So, 100% recommend. I will say, Alphagvrd, I don't know who y'all are. Y'all did not pay me to do this. If I can give y'all one, suggestion, I believe y'all should charge a little bit more and allow people to upload their own skin, and it's just a sheet, right? Like y'all know the sheet, and they can see what it look like on the sheet. I think that'd be super dope. You should let them know, like, hey, photos might not look that best. I don't want photos, but I was thinking about different textures I might want to do or try out. And I think, regular, I'll be honest, this costs $69 plus $3 for the tweezers and everything. So it's around $75 total. And I think if you say, hey, it's $100 for you to upload on your own, I think people might go for it. I don't know, but definitely check them out. All right, back to what I was going to talk about. The R3. Well, let's get to the R5. So I had the R5. I bought the R5 because before this, I was shooting with the 5D Mark IV, which is Canon, don't kill me, still my favorite camera of all time. Hands down. The colors was amazing. It was heavy as hell. If I could get the 5D Mark IV colors with the live view, like kind of how I could see the preview of the shot before I take it in here, that'd be the best camera of all time. Sorry, it's still my favorite camera, but excuse me, I thought I had this moment where I was like, oh, you got to upgrade, you got to change your cameras, like whatever, you're growing in your business, you're full time, get an R5. Got the R5, and when I first got the R5, my problem was there were not any color profiles on Lightroom for the R5 at that point, which I thought was a big mix up. But shout out to Color Fidelity. I believe that's the name of the company. I got that. Cool. The color still was wonky, but I'm going to be honest with you. I had a trash computer screen. Take my review with a grain of salt. And I didn't like it. I didn't like the colors. I was still doing great work, still getting booked, but my colors, it was really me. I was literally shooting. I was editing in Lightroom on one computer. And then once it came to do like my Photoshop edits, I was using a Mac. I don't believe you could beat a Mac screen. So other than that, I really just didn't like the R5. I don't know why. It was light. I came from a heavy camera. I went to something that was almost felt like a toy. Even in my hand now, my son walks around with this camera, and I ain't trying to like stun or anything. And I think that's kind of disrespectful to say, but my son walks around with this camera because it's like a little baby camera, which I know a lot of people like and love. Me personally, I like big, bulky cameras. And I started using this for my videos, for my podcast. That was the other thing. And I was not ready to invest into a cinema camera, which I have right here in front of me. Shout out to the C70. Don't ask. And yeah, so I'm applying for a grant. Let's get into the truth of the matter. I'm applying for a grant, and they asked me what kind of camera did I want. How truthful we want to be. I win this grant, and all I do is I go on Canon's website and I type in cameras, and I sort it from most expensive to the cheapest. And I go on there, and the most expensive camera is the R3, or I think the 1D Mark II or Mark whatever it was, the newest one, it just dropped. Only reason why I got this camera is because, well, I mean, if we being real, mirrorless is the future. That is, I believe AI is going to be the future. Y'all don't know how to edit. Y'all using retouchers, so whatever. But mirrorless is the future. So I got the camera, and the first reviews I was looking up was, what's the difference between an R5 and an R3? Every video was trying to hurry up and get out there quick because people can't afford this. I want to say this is like $7,000. You cannot afford this camera. Most people cannot. Most people can afford this camera, the R5. And most people just can't afford this. And both of them expensive as hell. So I knew I wanted this R3. I got it. And all the videos were saying, hey, cool camera, overkill, can do this. Here's a link. And when I see that in videos, that lets me know that people have found a way to say, all right, I'm going to talk them out of the expensive one because I know only 5% of photographers can probably afford this one. So let me encourage all of them to go get this. And maybe I can get my Amazon referral bonus. Cool. I'm here to tell you, bump this camera. This is the truth. The colors is amazing. Like I said, it's a bulky camera. It's cool. My number one thing about this camera is the video. There's no video limit. Sorry, it's no video limit on this camera. And that for me was the biggest game changer. My first time using this camera wasn't for photo. It was for me to record my podcast. For the whole 2003 since I got this, if you've seen video, it's been shot on this camera. I shoot in 4K. This camera is it. Shout out. So let me give you an example. This is a cinema camera, shout out, which is shot in 4K. They shot in the same modes. This is the C70. This is the Canon R3. I got this C70 probably a month ago. And honestly, I should just got another one of these. I'm not trying to be a cinematographer, to be real. So please take this as a grain of salt from a photographer and a photographer's needs who might want to do some short videos. I don't like shooting in log, which I have to color grade. I love that I can shoot in log. I was about to cuss in log. But I usually don't. So having this is perfect. I love the colors. I love how it's in focus. It reads well. The only scary thing about this camera is you can go, if you ever get your hands on this camera, hold on, I'm trying to turn it on to see. You can go to the gear sign, and maybe it's on the R5. I have to see. And you can use your eye as a focus mechanism. What does that mean is you can go, it's under not touch control. This, I should have already had this pulled up. Maybe it's not under the gear. Now I feel trash because I'm trying to tell y'all something that I don't know where it's at on this camera. But anyway, you can use your iris to literally move. Wherever your eye looks, it will chase that and focus on that. Damn, I don't know where it's at. And it's super cool. It is super scary and it's super annoying when you find it. Oh, yeah. You got to be on photo mode. Sorry, I was on video mode. You can go to eye control. You could turn it on. And wherever your eye looks at, it will jump over there to hurry up and focus on whatever. For somebody who has stigmatism like me and my eyes move, this is the worst thing. So I accidentally turned this mess on at a wedding. And when I say I could have ran, I ran actually to hurry up and get my other R3 and started shooting, swap cars over, and I started shooting that way, which was fine. And then I found out later during the reception, like why I was doing that. And it was cool, but I love the camera. I will say, going to video modes, let me show you all the video modes you could shoot in. So I could just say, so you could shoot in 4K. You can shoot up, you could shoot in full 1080p if you need to. You could shoot in 60 frames. You could shoot clearly 30 and 24. They do have an option. I found it. I had to call Canon and get them on the phone. We were shooting in 25 frames. There's a lot of videos in depth about this, but I would say as a photographer, as far as the color profiles, as far as the sharpness, as far as how fast it is, the fastest lens I personally found on this was the 70-200, the RF lens. That thing is so doggone fast. This is being recorded, I think, on the 50, which is amazing. What else about this camera I love? I don't know. It's just a bomb camera. This is very much similar to the 5D Mark IV. And Canon probably don't want me to say that because I think they tried to model this after the 1D as their mirrorless version until they get it right. I can't say enough about this. And mind you, I got this one when Canon was still trying to figure out the heating mechanisms on that one and the firmware and all that other stuff. But this camera is amazing. If you can, please go to B&H or wherever you could try out cameras and just play around with it, yo. I can't say enough about this one. People always come up and they are like, oh, which one is that? I tell them and they ask me how it is. And literally I hand it to them. I'm like, you look at it, feel it. It feels amazing. That is enough trying to sell y'all on this camera. But shout out to Alphagvrd. This skin is fire. And I hope all of this is in focus so y'all can see it. Only thing I don't like about these is, hold on, I think you still got the same memory cards. Hold on. Yeah, you still got the same memory cards. I think the only, this is the other thing that pissed me off with the R5. I didn't know they had the type B cards. So when I bought it, I was so mad. It was so expensive. That ain't got nothing to do with Canon. That just got something to do with me being cheap and not factoring that in when you buy a new camera. It's a beautiful camera. Either one is either good for video, I have to say, because I want to say the R5, you can shoot in like 8K if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, let me see. I think the only thing I just didn't like about this is getting up at 25 minutes to go over there and turn off a camera. That's not cool. And I can't afford, you know, somebody to come and do it. I don't even know how to use this camera no more. That's the craziest part. Hold on. Oh, shoot. All right, here we go. Let me go to video. I hope y'all doing good out there. Oh, yeah. You can shoot an 8K on this, but who doing that? Who got a computer to do all that on? New Year's resolutions for me. Yo, I want everybody to try to keep your New Year's resolutions. Try to do something that's simple, that's not hard, but it's doable. My New Year's resolution is to do this podcast weekly. It might be as small as it is now, where it's just me talking to y'all, something that I love. But a real New Year's resolution for me is, honestly, I need to post every day on social media. I did not do that last year. Last year was such a trying year of me realizing the social media game and understanding it even more and not really caring. And so I posted when I wanted to, but I realized I probably lost a lot of business on that, which isn't cool. So this year I want to do better. I want to make sure I focus on that. I need to post probably in the next hour or so. But yeah, man, like I really want to do that. Engage the group. So please invite anybody to Know More Pie by Gavin B. I am teaching a mentorship class in Charlotte for high schoolers. That was something I wanted to do. So I want to keep up with that. I really want to take it serious. But yeah, let me know your New Year's resolutions in the comments. And look, y'all might see me at WPPI this year. I might go. I've been thinking about it. I really, I love Vegas, as you know. So I'm thinking about going. It's in March. I don't know which days to go. I'm thinking like Sunday through Wednesday. I am laughing at they trying to do like pool parties. And nobody ain't in Vegas at them top of the years. But I'm thinking I might go, man. Might take my pops out there. Anywho, tell me what y'all think about the cameras. Tell me what your favorite camera is this year. And we'll holler at you next time, yo.
Welcome to the Paid in Exposure Podcast.
Let's get it.
A podcast about helping our community of